Today's presentation are on real numbers and maybe one imaginary one. There are two kinds of real numbers. Real numbers can be rational or irrational. See the word ratio in both words? The prefix IR means something. What is it? Rational numbers. A rational number is a real number that can be written as a ratio or a fraction. In decimal form, it terminates, it ends, or it repeats, which means it shows a pattern. Here are some examples of rational numbers. You see a whole number, a fraction, a decimal, a negative number, a repeating decimal, and a negative fraction. Irrational numbers. An irrational number cannot be written as a ratio or a fraction of two integers. You can't solve it. In decimal form, they are non-terminating, that means they never end, and non-repeating, there's no pattern. Here are some examples of irrational numbers. Square roots of non-perfect squares, like 17. Pi. Use your calculator's square root key to see which square roots 1 through 10 are irrational. Power it on, then use these key presses. Square root key, 1, enter. What's your answer? Write it down on your scratch paper. Square root key, 2, enter. What's your answer for that one? Keep going on your calculator using the numbers 3 through 9. How many rational numbers did you find? Here are the decimal equivalents of some irrational numbers. The symbol pi is that long number that starts with 3.14, and you can see there's no pattern of repeating numbers or repeating patterns. Whole numbers. Whole numbers are all positive numbers that are counting numbers plus 0. How can you remember that 0 goes with whole numbers? Your examples are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Natural numbers. All of your counting numbers starting with 1 and going forever. 0 is not a natural number, but it is a whole number and an integer. Look at the next slide. This is a number line representing integers, natural, and whole numbers. The blue arrows at the bottom show you a slice of just a few whole numbers. Natural numbers have the green arrows, and integers encompass all of those. Integer is the Latin word for whole. Integers are rational numbers because they can be written as a fraction with 1 as the denominator. They can be positive or negative. This group does not include decimals or fractions themselves. What are integers? Integers are the whole numbers and their opposites. Some examples of integers are 6 and -6, -12 and 12, 0, 186 and -186. Imaginary numbers. Once negative numbers were invented, mathematicians tried to find a number that, when squared, could equal a negative. Not finding an answer, they gave up. Then, in 1545, a complex math concept called imaginary numbers was born. We won't study those, but if you see this symbol, the small letter I, you know that that means an imaginary number. I is not a variable. It's a symbol for a specific number, which is the square root of -1. And here's a cartoon for you. The imaginary symbol is saying, be rational. And pi says, get real.